We're going to get started in just a minute here. I just got to set some stuff down. Woo. There we are. Let's take a look. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Yolanda. Yolanda's asking, before you begin, what is local food communities at Mount SAC that you will be teaching? So local food communities is the short version of the gardening class. It's the class that I teach during the winter and the summer. So every winter and summer, the regenerative gardening class is called local food communities, but it's a continuation of that class. Originally, we were going to call it something like regenerative gardening part 2, but we had too many classes with gardening in the title, and so decided to call it something totally different, but it's still, again, a continuation of that regenerative gardening class. Hopefully that answers your question, Yolanda. And how is everybody else doing today? Knock, knock, you're there, right? Now today, while we wait for some replies, let me show you what we're going to be working on. First and foremost, the big reveal, the avocado wood planter is complete. Woohoo! So I decided to drill 2 more holes in this. We have 5 holes in total. I know it looks like there's a hole there, but that's just from where I was drilling earlier and got a little bit too ahead of myself when I was trying to make some inroads into the log. But we are complete. As a matter of fact, today we're going to be planting this up with a couple different flowers. I was originally going to plant this pepper in here as well, but I decided that this really isn't enough space for this pepper. Pepper plants really need to have, I'd say, at least 12 inches of space. Maybe a 3-gallon container is good. This is not quite enough. So we're just going to be planting some flowers up in here. As a matter of fact, where did I put my other flowers? Oh, there they are. Let's go check them out. Now, I have a couple of nasturtiums that I got for the back fence and the herb spiral, and we're going to be planting these over here in the log planter as well as these violas, these little mini, not quite pansies, more like a Johnny jump up. Actually, this is kind of an in-between a pansy and a Johnny jump up. We're going to be planting these up in the planter as well. Now, these are really getting out of season, but, you know, they're not doing too bad. We've got some down here behind this nasturtium that are, you know, they're doing decent. They're not the greatest. This one here is a little bit more exposed, and you can see already that this, you know, it's not unhealthy, but it's not spectacular either. So this is going to struggle a little bit. You know, if we have any major heat, it's going to take these right out. If we can keep the weather cool for a couple of weeks and get these established, then these will probably last at least through June, maybe even July. But it's all right. They might not last long, but they're nice. The nasturtiums, on the other hand, will last, well, I'd say, just depending on how happy they are, they could last all the way through summer, although it depends on how hot it gets. We're going to be planting one of the nasturtiums down. Well, actually, you know what? No, we're not. We're going to plant it down here on this end. I'm also going to plant one in the ground right over here. Now, as this log drains out, because we have a little bit of a grade here, I've actually dug a little bit of a trench down here. So as I water and it drains, the excess water is going to come out down here. So I'm going to put a nasturtium right here, to collect that draining water. I might plant a couple other little flowers along here as well. I haven't decided that quite yet. Oh, and welcome, Miriam. Glad to see you made it. Now, before we get started on all of this, let me take you around and show you a couple of things going on in here. First and foremost, look at how gorgeous these are. Who can tell me what kind of a flower this is? And I'll give you a clue. This is one of the smaller varieties. The dinner plate variety is much larger than this. Can anyone tell me what kind of flower this is? We'll take a look at some of these other flowers while you all think about it. It's yellow and alive. Yes, that is technically correct, Yolanda. Correct. Sandy got it. It is a dahlia, and we have more dahlias right over here. Here's another one that actually just opened up. We have some more dahlias right down here. These haven't opened up yet. I'm glad to see it looks like we've got a different color in here. I planted all of these not knowing what color was which. I was kind of worried after these two bloomed that they were all going to be yellow, which wouldn't be a problem, but I was hoping for a little bit more of a mix. And yes, Sandy had it right with dahlia. One more yellow dahlia right down here. But as you can see, all the flowers are looking really good, although I will say the cosmos looks like it could use a little bit of a trim. So I'm going to grab my pruners and we're going to deadhead a couple of these flowers. We talk about deadheading in class all the time, and I know I don't give a lot of examples, so see if I can do this with one hand. Now I'm going to come right down here. I'd really like to get down as far as I can on this long stem here. I can do this without damaging anything as I trim with one hand. We're just going to snip this off right here, just like that. Now, the reason why we like to deadhead our flowers as they die back like this is because as this flower dries out, you're going to start to get the seeds in here. Let's see if we could see what's going on in here. Now, we don't have seeds in development quite yet, but this is where the seeds would form down here. Actually, this is still quite packed in here, but actually all of these little white bits down here, this would be what becomes the individual seeds of the flower. Now, the problem with allowing this to go to seed is those seeds require a lot of energy and they require phosphorus. The same thing that the blooms require. So if you want your flowers to continue to bloom, if you want to have more flowers throughout the season, deadheading encourages the plant to continue blooming. Now this one here looks like it could come out as well, so we'll snip that. Now, you all know me, I just take the plant flowers and I just chop them up and I leave them on the ground. I just chop and drop. In fact, I've got a little pile of flowers right over here from a couple of days ago that I snipped off, and as you can see, they're already desiccated and they'll be a part of the soil soon. Now this one, I'm not sure what's going on with this. I don't think this is done. I think this is just a weird looking flower. We'll leave that one. All of the rest of these are looking just fine, so we'll leave the rest of these. Hopefully deadheading that flower will help encourage this to grow out some more and continue to produce for us. Now, I see that this is starting to get a little bit sad, but it still looks nice, so I'll leave that there. We only have 3 flowers on here anyway, so we'll leave this be. Oh no, I just disturbed the spider's web. I'm so sorry. I felt something on my finger and I went, that's sticky. And sure enough, there's a little spider there. Right there. Sorry, little friend. Now, we want to make sure that we take good care of our little spiders like this because these flowers and the whole area in here is finally starting to get some new life in it. Matter of fact, I was just looking at the plum right here, and if we get in close, you can see we have aphids and ants on the new growth. So that's mostly ants right now, but a couple of aphids on here. For those of you who don't know, aphids and ants actually have a beneficial relationship. The ants will take care of the aphids. There you go. Now you can see the aphids. So all the little black guys there are the ants that are taking care of the aphids, and you can see all those little green specks are the aphids. Now that looks pretty bad, and a lot of people would see that and say, time to spray, but I'm not going to be doing any spraying out here. Now, I could take a hose and I could rinse these off, but I think I'm actually going to leave this alone. I'm going to be purchasing some green lacewing larvae to put on the tomatoes over here very shortly. Green lacewing larvae will also eat aphids. I'm going to purchase a large pack. It's about 5,000 eggs, which is way more than I actually need. So I'll be putting some of the eggs here on the trees. I'll put some over here in the flowers. Heck, I'll probably put some over there in the herb spiral and maybe even on the other side in the front yard. And I'll definitely be putting them in here because the green lacewing larva eats spider mites. And spider mites are one of the worst things you get on your tomato plants. Now, I do want to point out everything going on in here now. As you can see, the holy basil has really taken off. I mean, it's taken over this whole corner here. This thing was tiny when I got it. The tomatoes are all doing great now. Even these tomatoes down on the west end that weren't doing so great have grown out. They're looking wonderful. In fact, you can take a look down here at the base. This right here was actually the center of the plant. And this part of the plant here actually died back. When I chopped this off, this was about yay tall about a week and a half ago. So you can see it has just about tripled its size in the last week and a half. Once these new stems grew out below the part that had died back, I went ahead and cut this out to open this up so that it's not too crowded in here. In fact, you'll notice I haven't done this one quite yet. I'll show you that in a second. But these other two tomatoes over here, I've gone ahead and I've removed some of the lower leaves to open this up a little bit so that we get some airflow down here. Now, we have some stuff here that I might consider cutting this off. But I like to keep the area underneath the tomato plant opened up, number one, so that you get good airflow. This helps to keep fungus off of here. This can also help to keep spider mites from taking over the plant too quickly, although they will eventually get here. But it also creates more habitat for the carrots. As you can see, we've got carrots down here. I want to make sure that the carrots have a little bit of room down here. They're totally happy growing underneath the canopy of the tomato plant. And as a matter of fact, carrots and tomatoes are grown together because carrot flies are a nasty little bugger that will come in and lay eggs, and their larvae will actually burrow down into the carrot root. You'll snap your carrot open and find a worm inside. It's not very pleasant. But carrot flies do not like the smell of tomatoes. So by having my carrots under my tomatoes, my carrots are protected. In fact, look at this carrot here. Goodness, this one's pretty gigantic. Already starting to get a tiny little bit of a root on there. Now, interesting thing, I discussed cutting out the carrots that were slower growing. Now you can see that I have two carrots here right next to each other. This one is very small and this one is quite large. And at this point, I know that this is the carrot that's going to do well, and this other seed, not so much. So I'm going to come right down here and I'm just going to cut this, just like that. So out comes this carrot. Now, I could have left that in, but the problem is having two carrots that close to each other is going to cause one or both of the carrots to deform, and I don't want that. I don't want to have deformed carrots, so I'll cut out the extra ones. That root down there can stay in. That's not going to hurt anything. I don't want to yank that out because I don't want to damage any of the fine hairs on this young carrot here. And I can just take the rest of this carrot and just going to break it apart, and I'm just going to, again, chop and drop it. As a matter of fact, actually, I could take these carrot greens and I could put them in our worm bin here. So if we sneak around, got the worm bin, put some cardboard on top just to help keep it a little bit cooler. The only problem is, as I get this open, ooh, that's humid in there. Look at pill bug. Oh, there's some fungus in there too. The only problem is, even if I put that in there, it's not gonna do anything, because guess what? The worms are gone. The worms have exited the worm bin. As a matter of fact, the other day I was looking in here, I had seen there was a ton of pregnant worms in here, and I was so excited. And then I noticed on the sides, underneath the bedding material, holes going out into the bed. Now, interestingly, because we have hugelkultur under here, the bottom of this worm bin is actually in the hugelkultur layer, along with the logs and the branches and the leaves. And I'm guessing that the worms figured out that they could go in there, and they must be underneath the bed munching on all of the leaves that I laid down there, because there's no worms in either of the bins now, and they disappeared pretty much all at the same time. So now my worm bins are taking care of some pill bugs, I guess. But that's totally fine. I think that I'll continue to take care of this. I've actually slowed down putting food in here. I'm going to wait a little bit until I start to spot evidence of worms in the bottom of these bins again, and then I'll start adding food, hopefully to bring those worms back in. Yolanda, thank you very much. I'm happy you think it looks great. I think it looks great too. Of course, we were talking about cilantro bolting. And look at that. The cilantro is bolting. I've actually already cut this out twice now. You can see down here. I chopped this down here, and then it just sent more flower stalks up. So this cilantro definitely wanted to bolt quickly. I'm probably going to just plant some cilantro seeds around this so that the young plants can take over. I'm still eating this, even though it's bolting. There's still a lot of good greens on this. I mean, it's funny. The whole family has been eating this quite a bit, and yet it really doesn't look like we've taken anything off of the plant. I could come in here and I could chop these off, but seeming as how it really wants to bolt, I think I'm just going to let this flower. Of course, cilantro is coriander, so coriander seeds actually come from the cilantro plant. So once this flowers, I'll collect the seeds. I could scatter some of the seeds around, replant the cilantro, and I might even dry some out and use them as coriander, because that's delicious. Now, I shouldn't leave my tools laying around like this. Don't do a Ben. Now, I also want to point out, notice that, boy howdy, these are growing so stinking fast. These are the shallots. And, I mean, I just put these in. Look at how big they are. Right over here, too. I don't know what's going on with these shallots. I did not use any fertilizer on these at all. They're just going bonkers. I'm not complaining. The borage also finally started to bloom, as you can see. By the way, if you've never had borage before, these flowers are delicious. You can actually take the center of the flower off. I would take some, but my hands are kind of filthy right now. You actually just grab the center like this, tug gently. You don't want to eat the sepals on the back side here. If you can see, there's some hairs on there, and those hairs are not very pleasant if they get into your throat or onto your tongue. But the center of the flower here is actually quite delicious. It tastes like a combination of cucumbers and honey mixed together. It's really very tasty. Also a really great companion plant for our tomatoes, along with the basil and goodness. All of our beautiful marigolds here, which I should be deadheading. These are just growing so fast I don't even think about it. In fact, these are probably already producing viable seeds in here. Let's take a look. Let's see. Oh yeah, yep, they sure are. Look at that. I'll put this down here to make it a little bit easier to open up. But notice how the bottom of the seed here is turned black. These are viable, so these are already ready to be planted. And as a matter of fact, I have more than enough marigolds in here, so I'm just going to do what I do, and I'm just going to wander around and sprinkle seeds. I do this when I have an excess of seeds. Sometimes I collect them and I give them away. Sometimes I just scatter them around in random beds and see what comes up. That's exactly why we end up with borage like that one that's coming up over there. As a matter of fact, in the herb spiral, we have another borage. Oop, let's move that. There we go, right here. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the herb spiral here. Look at how gorgeous this is looking today. This area is growing in quite nicely, but I mean, down here, it's already packed. Oh, hey, look. We have another borage in here. That one's even fuzzier than the first one was. We also have a volunteer, either a pea or a sweet pea. Notice we have a tendril here grabbing onto the garlic chive. I'm actually thinking about putting a single bamboo pole in here to give this something to climb on. I don't know if it's a pea or a sweet pea. This is not the right season for this in any case, but I'll still let it grow and see what it does. Might get a couple of flowers if it's a sweet pea. Might get a couple of peas if it's a regular pea. We do get a lot of purple peas that come up from seed out here, so very well could be one of those. Although I am kind of surprised because I put fresh soil in here, and I don't know how all of these seeds ended up getting in here, except for the seeds I planted on purpose, of course. We do have some seeds I planted on purpose. We talked about the pot marigold, also known as calendula. I planted calendula around in here. It's funny, I planted a bunch of seeds up there, but as it waters, or as I water, the water runs down and it comes down here and then it drips down through here and runs that way. And lo and behold, look at all of these calendula here. The seeds must have washed down and then got caught right here. So looks like we're going to have a mass of calendulas right in there, which I'm totally fine with. Even have some more calendula that wash down into some of these spots as well. Pretty fun. I tell you, I really love this herb spiral. You know, I kind of did this on a whim the day that I built it. I had been planning on building an herb spiral. I came out here and I said, I'm just going to lay the foundation. And I got so excited. I ended up doing the whole thing. In fact, I spent goodness, probably a solid 8 hours out here doing the whole thing. Well, minus the trip to Armstrong's. Actually, I built this probably in about maybe 3 or 4 hours. Then took a trip to Armstrong's, grabbed all the plants and planted it all up. Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. I really like it. I can't wait to see this. I mean, this is only about 3 weeks in, so I can't wait to see this in a month or two, especially when this grows. Very excited to see how this variegated sage looks in here, because it's going to get pretty tall. I hope it looks good. Of course, we have the Avocado Log Planter over here, which I need to start planting up. I can't spend the whole time yapping away, so I think I'm going to go ahead and put my camera on the tripod here, so forgive me for just 1 second while I set this up. There we go. And we're going to give you an angle that actually looks good. There we go. Right about there. How about that? That looks nice. Now, couple of things we have to do. First and foremost, the most important part is I got to take my iPad here and I got to open it up so that I can chat with you all while I'm working. Let's see. Ta-da! Oh wait, this is an old video. What's going on here? Oh goodness. I opened up the wrong thing. This is why we can't have nice things, people. All right, let's see. This is how you find me. Oh, look at that spiral video. Oh God. Clicking all the wrong things. This is how you subscribe. Just kidding. Now let's get this loaded up. There we are. Picture in picture in picture. Let's see. There we go. Now we're trying to find God in here somewhere. Just kidding. Oh, okay, that's going to make me puke. Now, I'm going to go ahead and set this down right over here. Hopefully I won't smash it on accident. And we're going to go ahead and start filling up the Avocado Log Planter. Now I've got soil here from Wolfenbagger's. This is some of the leftover same soil that we used in the raised bed over here. So we're going to go ahead and use it in our avocado planter. There we go. Just a little bit more. Now this is pretty dried out. Uh-oh. A rock snuck in there. We don't want that. Nope, and some mulch too, jeez. Well, I'm already making a mess. Oh well. Now, just a little bit more here. Not going to fill this up completely. I want to make sure that I have some space up top so that when I water, the water doesn't just run off the top. Get that out of there. Now that, almost there. So you know what, we'll start with this. One more scoop, half a scoop. There we are. I think that'll do it. You have to remember that you have to have enough room for the plants in there as well. Okay, that looks good. Now, we're going to be using the hori today. So let's grab that, stick that right in there. And I've got gloves right over here. Yes, that's what I needed. Alrighty. Now the other thing we're going to be doing is we are going to add a little bit of starter fertilizer in here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use a little bit more starter fertilizer than I normally use. Reason being that this log, of course, is made of wood. And now that we have soil in here and we have plants and we're going to be growing plants, we're going to have water in here, this log is going to start to disintegrate. It's going to start to break down and decay. As this log decays, it's actually going to sap some of the nitrogen away from the soil. And so I need to make sure that I have enough nitrogen in here so that whatever nitrogen is sapped away from the soil by the log doesn't get sapped away from the plants. Remember, our flowers need that nitrogen as well. Actually, let me give this a little feel here. Make sure I've got enough in there. Oh yeah, that's good. Felt a little bit hollow over on this side, but the rest of it feels perfectly fine. This is good. Before we start planting our flowers, we're going to use a little bit of starter fertilizer. I used to use the down-to-earth It was called starter fertilizer, but they've replaced it with BioLive starter and transplant mix. Basically the same stuff. I guess that's probably a new formulation. I haven't looked. Still works great. But again, I don't normally use very much, but I'm going to use a little bit extra. Now, the trick is to measure this out very carefully when you use it, just like I'm doing right now. Measuring it very, very carefully. I'm being a scientist right now. I hope my chemistry lab professor is not watching me right now. I'd get a retroactive F for measuring like this. Now, we're going to go ahead and mix this in just a touch here. Remember, this BioLive fertilizer you want to keep in the root zone. I don't want to mix this in too deep here. I don't want it getting all the way to the bottom because I don't want it washing out when I water these plants. So I'm going to try to keep it up just in these top few inches here. Again, right around the root zone. Also going to use a little bit of BioLive right down here when I plant my nasturtium in just a second. But let's start with these. Now, one nasturtium is going to go back here on this end. Now, these roots are pretty root bound. I actually bought these plants a few weeks ago. Didn't end up using all of them and wasn't quite sure where I wanted to put them. Really need to get them in the ground. Actually, funny thing, let's compare. If you take a look at this nasturtium right here, we can compare it to this one right over here. Let's scooch that over. Take a look at that. These were from the same batch. This is one plant. That's one plant. When you leave a plant in a pot that's too small for it like this, actually there's two plants here, notice how it can't grow. The second the roots get into the ground, the plant's going to do much better. I also sometimes talk to students about the size of the pot. Remember, the smaller the pot and the smaller the roots, the smaller the plant is going to stay. So the more root space you have, the bigger and happier the plant's going to get. Now I'm going to spin you all around 360. Let's see if I can do this. Woo! There we go. Get you right back over here. There we are. And we'll go ahead and get these planted. Now, this has already been watered, and to be honest, I should probably wet down this soil before I plant these plants. Let's see. You know what? We're not ready to do that right now. I don't want to make you wait, so I'll take care of that after. Just for future reference, though, it would be much better to wet this down before planting. Of course, with how hydrophobic this is, with how dry this has gotten, it's probably going to take some effort to get the water into this soil. So I'll probably be sitting out here for a bit watering this down. Oh boy. Now don't mind me, I'm being attacked by mosquitoes. I probably should have put on some of my mosquito repellent, but that's okay. Anything for the fans. Guess it's that time of year again. I'm kind of surprised. Usually don't have too many mosquitoes when it's cooler like this. But it is that time of year. Now, I think that'll be just about perfect. Take a look here. Now, remember, when you're planting flowers like this, or any kind of a plant, with the exception of some plants like tomatoes, you want to make sure that the root ball is level with the surrounding soil. And this right here is just about perfectly level. Now, I got a little bit of this soil on the top of the root ball. You want to be careful about that. You don't want to get soil on top of the root ball. That can cause problems for the plant. So just try to get it even on all sides. Make sure you tuck it in gently, and we're good to go. Now, again, I don't know how long these little violas are going to last, but we'll go ahead and plant these up in here as well. Ooh, got to untangle them gently. Oh, boy, they're really tangled up in there. Let's put this down. The flowers are all stuck together. Oop. I have to pull one of them off. Okay, there we go. Now, I actually wanted to put some toothache plant in here, but my toothache plants are not quite ready yet. I had some seeds I just got started. So once these are looking sad, I'll probably go ahead and come out and put the toothache plant in here. And now for those of you who don't know what toothache plant is, it's a really interesting little plant, sometimes referred to as, I think they call it a Buddha's button, if I remember correctly. It's called toothache plant because the flowers have a very interesting numbing effect. When you chew on them, well, they can solve your toothache because they make your mouth go numb. But also, they taste different to different people. For some people, there's no flavor and it just kind of tingles like electricity. Some people say that they taste a very spicy taste. Some people taste a very bitter taste. Some people that have tried it have said it's very sour. It's a lot of fun to grow toothache plant because when you give them to people and ask them what they taste, you might get 10 different answers from the group. And it's a lot of fun. All right, now I'm gonna just spread these out in here. Normally, I wouldn't want to plant in fours like this. I like to plant in uneven groupings. Since this is such a small space, I'm just gonna go ahead and plant them all in a row here, except I guess I'll stagger them a little bit. But normally, if you had 4 plants like this, you would want to come in and maybe do a group of 3 like this, and then 1 off on its own. That's going to help maintain balance. This is actually a really good general rule anytime that you're planting in a landscape. Try to plant your plants in uneven groupings. This is going to help keep a balance in your landscape. That's the other reason why I didn't want to plant both of these nasturtiums in here. I want to have one of them out here. You know what? I might actually plant these slightly uneven like this. We'll have the slightly closer group of 3 violas down here, the one a little bit closer in between, and then our nasturtium. We'll see how that looks in a couple of weeks as these grow in. All right, let's go ahead and get these in here. While I'm planting, how's everybody doing out there? How are your gardens doing? Anybody have anything exciting going on? Let's see what we have going on in the chat here. Ooh, the chat is dusty. Imagine that. I was flinging soil and it got on the tablet that I put right next to the log. Because I'm smart. Let's see here. Let's see. Hello, hello. Oh, good question. So the question is, you don't use compost or instead of buying expensive fertilizers. So I do use compost, but I'm not putting any compost in this soil here because this is from Wolfenbagger's. This soil is already amended with compost. So this actually has a mixture of sand, kind of a silty sand, compost, chicken manure. So I don't really need to add anything else to this. The next time I plant this up, I will add compost to it. I just use the BioLife starter fertilizer, especially since this was a soil that had a compost that got very, very hot. I don't know what kinds of bacteria and fungus I have in this soil. And the starter fertilizer contains several different kinds of bacteria and fungus. And of course, plants need bacteria and fungus to really thrive. So I want to make sure that this new bed area has what I needed it. Now, notice I didn't do anything to this root ball. I don't really know that I need to do anything to this one either because these roots are very delicate. But I am going to go ahead and very gently massage and tear some of these roots on the bottom before I plant this second one. Maybe we'll see in a week if one is doing better than the other. I can't stagger this too much because I don't have a lot of space here. So I'll stagger it just a little bit. There we go. There. Again, we're going to do a grouping of 3 and a grouping of 1. See how that looks. See if we have any other questions. And hello to the new people who joined. Welcome. Man, I really made a mess of that tablet, I tell you. I hardly ever use it. I actually bought that tablet, I think, to bring into my classes to have people sign up for stuff, and then I forgot about it, and I actually forgot about that tablet for a very long time. And then when I decided to start doing these live streams, I said, oh, it'd be so nice if I had a tablet to read the chat on. And I went, wait a second, don't I have a tablet? I dug it out, I found it. All right. Now this one, I'll go ahead and massage as well, very gently, doesn't need much. Just pull this to the side here, make sure that's about the same depth, and we'll chuck it in, real gentle like. Very nice. Last one, all on its lonesome. I'm actually going to put this one a little bit closer to the group of 3. All 4 of these violas are going to stay relatively compact, especially since their season isn't going to go much longer. This nasturtium, on the other hand, I'm imagining is going to get pretty big, so I want to make sure that it doesn't overtake this viola too quick. You know what? Actually, now I'm second guessing myself. Now I'm thinking maybe I want to put this viola down here instead. You know what? I'm gonna plant it down here instead. Well, now these are too far apart. Actually, that's totally fine. I actually have some alyssum seeds that I'll grab, and I'll sprinkle some alyssum in here since I was thinking about doing that anyway. And then, of course, once this dies back, we'll go ahead and transplant the toothache plants in here instead. Alrighty. So we're going to put 1 nasturtium right down here. Now again, I have a little trench back here so that as I water in here and it drains out the bottom, the water normally would run out towards you guys and then down the slope of the yard. But with the little trench I've got here, I'm trying to get the water to run and kind of stay kind of behind the log here. And since this is going to end up being a pretty moist little spot, I thought this is the perfect place to plant another flower. So we'll tuck this nasturtium in here. That's about right. Of course, not giving it any starter fertilizer, am I? To be honest, I probably don't need any starter fertilizer out here in the natural soil, only because we've had a lot of stuff growing in here. This has been a very healthy yard, and I'm sure I've already got all of the right kinds of fungus and bacteria in here, but we'll still add a little bit to give our plant a little bit of a nutrient boost. Now, you probably aren't going to see where I'm putting it back here, but I'll show you in a second, don't worry. Get that tucked in real nice. And I think, maybe this would look good right down here. I'm not sure. Yeah, why not? Put it right down on this end. This is where a lot of the water runs out, heading towards you guys as well, so no problem planting this right here. Although, I'm always second guessing myself. Nah, this will be a good spot. Now this one will also get a little bit of fertilizer. I probably should be adding some compost in here. This area right here is a little bit further away from the spot that has received amendment. And it's pretty sandy in here. In fact, you can see just how sandy it is but there is still some organic matter in here. It's fine. This is good enough. Use a little bit of starter fertilizer though, just a touch. Sprinkle. And with that, our flower goes in. Now what I might do, hopefully you all can see what I'm doing here. I guess I better check, huh? Let's check before I say anything else. I'm going to move this back just a touch here. There we go. See, Vicky says, Caitlin and I are transplanting a coast live oak from a 15-gallon pot to a 24-inch diameter pot. She's fostering it for friends and who lost their home in the fires. I'm sorry to hear that her friends lost their home, but that's exciting. I will say it's not easy to keep oaks going in a pot, but it is doable. That's good, Vicky. All right. Now, one thing that I'm going to do before I stop here is I'm going to take a little bit of the soil in here, and I'm going to go like this. I'm going to make a little bit of a slight berm, like so, along here, because I know that when I water this, some of the water is going to come under here and hit my nasturtium on the backside. Some of the water is going to run out on this side, and it's going to run out this way. So I'll get it to come right in and stop right here on our little plant. So I won't need to do any watering on either of these two. I'll just water in here, and then that'll take care of that. All right, that's it for our little log planter here, at least for now. Now I also have a little pepper. This is a pepper I was thinking of planting in here, decided not to. I'm actually going to plant it up in here instead, but I think I might come in and freshen up the soil a little bit. I don't know how long the soil has been in this pot here. I don't even remember the last thing we planted in this. At the very least, I need to add some more organic matter to that, but we'll worry about that later. Now, the next thing we're going to work on is actually another little planting. So you're going to come along with me right over here. And we're going to plant up this little pot here. So let me adjust to give you the best view. There we go. And ta-da! There we go. I probably should have gotten the hose out of the way here, but oh well. Now, we were trying to decide where we were going to plant up this mint. I'll take my gloves off for a second to show you this. And actually, let me grab my iPad here. There we go. Goodness. It really is filthy. Oh boy. This is why I don't have nice things. Now, when I went to the lovely Pomona Fairplex Fairgrounds the other day, I was able to grab a couple of mint specimen. We have our my favorites. This one here is known as Cotton Candy Mint. This is the Hazelnut Latte Mint, and this one is called Orange Mint. These are really, really nice mints. Now, what I did while I was at the fairgrounds is I took a little cutting, snip, snip, and then I just stuck it in some water, and voila. After a week or two, I got roots. All of these are looking good. At least the roots are looking good. Now, the leaves are looking pretty sad, especially this one. These leaves are not looking too happy. Mint, and well, any plant really, can only survive so long in water like this. Not all plants will grow roots when you do this, but mints are one of the best plants to do this with. So we'll be planting these mints up in this pot here. I was originally thinking about putting it in the log planter over there, but I was a little bit concerned that the mint roots would grow down through the bottom of the planter and find their way into the yard. And we don't want that because mint will take over. So we're going to plant it up in this pot instead. Let's see here. Let me check the chat. Oh, wow. Vicky says the oak's been going for 3 years in the small pot. Fingers crossed. Yes. I hope it does well. Now I'm going to get these out of the way. Don't mind this. This is just part of a strange ritual I was doing earlier. No, actually, I was thinking about making a little spot either for some cucumbers or beans back here. Looking at the time, I don't think we'll have time to work on that today. But next time you see me, there's probably going to be a little bit of something over here. But right now, we'll just move these out of the way, because I need to get some soil. Move the hose out of the way there. And, ta-da! Go ahead and fill her up. Now, the mint will fill up any kind of a container you give it. Mint can grow very, very aggressively, which is one of the reasons why you don't want to put it in the ground in your yard. It can really take over. But since it's pretty small little cuttings right now, it's going to take a little bit for this to fill up. I actually want to put one flower in here as well. And so I'm thinking this dianthus here. I've got a couple of dianthus leftovers from when I was planting before. You know, I'm not sure. The mint is going to be all green. Should I plant the red or the pink? What do you all think? I'm going to let you all vote in the chat. Red dianthus or pink dianthus with the mint? Who says red? And who says pink? Oh, Rosalind, thank you very much. So my work apron, I actually got this on Amazon some time ago. I don't know how long ago. I think it was actually when I was still in college, and I never used it. And actually, one day I decided to wear it while I was recording one of my videos. Now I love it. I love using it in the garden, and I don't know, I think it's turned into my signature look. But yeah, this was on Amazon. I'll see if I can find the name of the product, and I'll share that with you. So we have 3 votes for pink and 1 vote for red. Now, I was actually leaning towards red myself because I like the red on green. But since we have all those votes for pink, we're going to go with pink. So congratulations, pink is the winner. We'll use that lovely red somewhere else. So there we go. That'll go right there. Now, I am a little bit concerned, since this mint is just a cutting, I'm worried that if I try to put the mint into this very, very dry soil right now, the soil is going to sap the water right out of that mint. So I am not going to plant the mint in here without wetting the soil down. So we're going to grab the hose. Don't mind me. Now, of course, good idea when you use a hose, make sure you use the proper hose end attachment. You know, I used to always just water things putting my thumb on the end of the hose, but that can actually cause soil erosion, can damage plants. Ooh, that squeak. Sorry about that. Yeah. I really like these water wands. I'm really partial to these. Let's move that out of the way. But it's a good idea to have some kind of a hose end tool that disperses the water for you so that you don't have any erosion issues. Now, you're going to notice as I start to wet this down that this is going to take some time before the water starts to soak in. Let's get the hose turned on here. Woo! Notice how the soil looks almost like flour. Now I'm going to just fill this up to the brim, and then I'll turn it off. And it's going to take a minute before this starts to go down. This is very, very hydrophobic right now. Now, soil that has become hydrophobic, of course, repels water. This is actually one of the reasons why you can have problems with your soil if you ever have, let's say, like a clay soil, and then you come in and put sand on top of that, or you have sand and you put clay on top of that. When you create those layers end up becoming very hydrophobic with time. And just because of the physics of water movement through soil, you have to have a lot of water pressure pushing down for the water to go through a change in particle size. I guess I should explain the difference between sand and clay, huh? Anybody in chat remember what the difference between sand and clay is? Of course, I could give you a clue. Which one do you think is bigger, sand or clay particles? So exciting, we're watching the water drain. Oh yeah, this is the most exciting part of the whole live stream. Aren't you all just having a great time? Look at that. It's almost as fun as watching paint dry. And yes, I see the answer from 3 different people. You are all correct. Sand is the larger particle size. Clay is a smaller particle size. Now, just out of curiosity, I'm going to grab my hori-hori and I want to take a look and see if this soil is actually imbibing the water. Now, I'm going to dig down really quick and see if I can just grab some soil. And look at that, totally dry. So that was sitting there, and it looked like it was soaking in, didn't it? But it was totally, completely dry that entire time. Now, since this is so hydrophobic, I'm going to have to mix this a little bit here. Mix it in. Goodness gracious. As a matter of fact, when I dug that hole, the water just drained out through the hole in the bottom of the container here. That's pretty wild. Still completely bone dry. So this is what happens when your soil becomes hydrophobic. Now, a trick that I've been taught when you have hydrophobic soil like this is to take a bucket, like a plastic bucket, put the soil in there and fill it with water and let it sit for like half an hour. Now, I'm not too concerned about this soil here. We've already started to get the water back in here. We have clumps that are holding water. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some water a second time here and see what it does. See if it starts to soak in a little bit better or if it just sits on top again. Let's see. Now, when you have water that has gone hydrophobic like this, you have to have enough water weight pushing down for that water to start to break that hydrophobic layer. Now, it looks to me like this still is not budging. I saw a little bubble over there. Nope, saw a bubble over there. When you start to see the bubbles, you know that the water is starting to sink in, but it's going to take some time for this to become saturated. Oh, hello, Maria. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's very true. When you deep water your pots correctly and water enough, you don't have to water as often. Now, look at that. It's still not going in. Look at that. So I'm going to gently... Look at that, still dry, completely bone dry. Now that, we've got some wet there. I'm gonna come along the sides and I'm just gonna kind of stir this. I'm gonna pretend like I'm making some bread. I don't wanna go straight into the center because if I pull away that dry soil, all of the water is just gonna run right down the middle again. But I'm gonna gently turn this in, just like making dough. And as I do this and saturate the soil, eventually the excess water will start to drain through the hole in the bottom. There we go. That's getting better. Okay, now we're going to unplug the hole in the middle in just a second here. All right. Looking pretty good. Still finding dry pockets in there. Look at that. I can still pull up dry soil from the bottom. Again, you know, this is hydrophobic soil. Now, this doesn't just happen to soil that's been sitting around. This actually can happen to the soil in your yard. Matter of fact, if you have a garden and you haven't taken care of it for a long time, maybe you have an entire season where you don't grow anything, this exact same thing happens. As a matter of fact, you could get 3 inches of rain. And if your soil is hydrophobic like this, then even if you get 3 inches of rain, it's not going to soak in. It's actually just going to run off. It's going to go to the street, it's going to run through the gutter, and it's going to go straight down to the ocean. This is actually one of the biggest problems that we have here in California, especially since we started doing drought-tolerant landscaping, is a lot of people stopped watering completely. They put in either rock landscapes or something where they literally don't use any water at all, period. The soil ends up becoming like this, it becomes hydrophobic, and then when it rains, the soil, the earth, has no capacity to soak the water up. This is why I tell people, if you want to have a drought-tolerant garden, let's say, plant an oak tree. The oak tree will actually keep the soil pores open. Having all of those fibrous oak roots keeps the soil like a sponge and makes it so that when it rains, the water soaks right into the ground. If you have a large area with no plants, with nothing, with just rocks, or even worse, that plastic weed barrier, this is what ends up happening. Now, I'm having a lot of trouble getting this to drain back out. I can't even find that hole in the middle. You know, it's possible some of that hydrophobic soil might have gotten into that. Oh, there it is. It's draining. You can hear it. Now, we'll see how long this takes. Oh, look at that. I still have hydrophobic soil in the sides. Look at that. Even though all of this water is sitting here. You know, this is what can even happen in your pots too. You know, as I scrape the sides, if your pot dries out too much and you have areas like this in the sides, even after you water, you could still have completely dry soil in there. Remember, when soil is dry like that, your plants are not going to be happy. So don't let your soil dry out too much. You have to make sure that you give it just enough water so that it doesn't become hydrophobic. You don't have to give a lot, but you should make sure that you continue giving a little bit. Now, let's see if we can find that hole again, because we need to get that unblocked. We have a little bit of that hydrophobic soil in there. See, this is also one of the reasons why it's a good idea to put that little pottery shard in there. This week in class, we talked about that a little bit. If you have a piece of a pottery shard in there, that can help prevent the soil from washing down into that hole, which normally isn't too much of an issue, but if it becomes, again, hydrophobic like this, then you could encounter this kind of a problem. Now, I could lift this up and we could poke it from the bottom, but I'm concerned this pot is not very sturdy. In fact, you can see that this side has already started to crumble a little bit here, so I do not want to try to lift this off of here while it's full of water. I really just have to wait for this soil to become saturated and for the water to go ahead and pass through, which is just gonna take time. Boy, howdy, look at that. It's still just sludge. Now, because of this, it looks like maybe I won't get to plant my mint today. Let's try adding a little bit more water to the top again, and we'll see if that excess water weight will push the water through that hydrophobic soil. Because once we push through that little bit of hydrophobic soil there, we should start to hear the water pass through. It should start to drain. So let's see what happens when I do this. Da, 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 da. All right, there we go. Let's see. Let's see here. I apologize to everybody for the comments in the chat. Go ahead and take care of that. Let's see. Sorry, everybody. Gonna go ahead and put these users in timeout. Alrighty. Yes, this is a gardening stream. And yes, that's true that a little bit of gypsum in the soil can actually help the water to pass through as well. Let's see here. I did see a comment about oak trees. Sorry, everybody, just trying to get through the weird comments. Maybe I should change the rules on the stream and make it 18 and up only. How about that? Alrighty. Now, it's looking to me like this is not going to be fixable tonight. We're going to have to give this more time for the soil to completely rehydrate. And so I'll have to put those mint cuttings back on the windowsill. We'll just give this a couple of hours. Actually, by tomorrow, this should be totally fine. I'll give it a couple more stirs here. Let's see. There we go. Now, the one thing I have to watch out for turning this into a sludge like this is after the water does drain back out, this is going to end up compacting quite a bit, which we don't want the soil to be too compacted. So I'm probably going to have to fluff it up a little bit after the excess water drains out. Alrighty, now I guess that'll be it for our projects today, since we are almost completely out of time here. Now, oh yeah, Yolanda, sorry about that. That's what happens when children find your stream. I teach high school during the summer, so I'm used to it. You're very welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before we part ways today is I did want to point out that we're done with the avocado log. I have to pick out another one because I want to make another. I'm leaning towards this one here, but I think what I might do is I'll take some pictures of some of these logs and maybe I'll let my students choose which one I carve out into the next planter. Yolanda says, question, would it have been better to add some soil, then some water, then repeat the process a couple of times? Yes, actually, in fact, it would have been better to get this rehydrated first. Honestly, if I had taken a bucket, I don't have any buckets out here right now, but if I had taken a bucket, filled it with soil, and then filled it with water and stirred it up, and then added it into that, it would have been much better. But that's not how I did it, and I guess today we just get a different kind of a lesson. that's all right, because things don't always go to according to plan in gardening either, and you just have to make do. Matter of fact, we've had a couple of times, like when we were planting up our grape over here. I thought I was going to plant it the night that I brought it over, and ended up not being able to. In fact, we had a little bit of some drainage issues in this hole as well. So that's just how the cookie crumbles. Alrighty, everybody. Now, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Oh, that's right. Yolanda made a really good point. Sorry, before I go away, that is actually not how I roll. I'm going to go ahead and tuck my knees into my chest, and I'm going to lean forward. Because that's how I roll. Nope. Just kidding. I know you were waiting for that joke. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you very much for spending some time with me tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And yes, Vicky, may the 4th be with you as well. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you in class this week. Take care. Thank you very much, Maria. Have a wonderful week. Thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. Take care. See you all soon. Bye, Rosalind. Take care. See you on Thursday.